Well, here we are, guys, recapping day one of the three-day festivities, the AIHL Finals 2011. And this is what it's all about right here. The Cup has come back. It's no longer got an owner. By the end of Sunday, we shall have an owner. This is the AIHL Elite Champions Cup. Guys, what was your thoughts on the first day? Coach Mario?
I tell you, I saw a lot of great hockey, a lot of teams that I had never seen before. Scottsdale Inferno was very impressive to me. Some players that really stood out that I hadn't seen before, specifically on the Brawlers. Very impressed with Keating, who I thought was probably the biggest standout that I've seen today. Obviously, J.J. Fichter feeding from him, but unbelievable action.
Well, let's start at the beginning of the day. We'll go through each series. We had 6 series. Originally we had 8. We'll get to that in a moment. But we started the day out 495ers minor versus the Ice Dogs. We talked about this one a lot, and it didn't really live up to the billing. I think we're going to say it was pretty one-sided. The 495ers came out. Captain Sharkey scored opening shift, 5-hole goal. He was pretty banged up, pretty injured, but still fought through it. Team looked very good. Tom Nostramo played both games for them. And it just seemed to me like the Ice Dogs didn't have much in the tank, especially in Game 2.
Yeah, I was very impressed. The 495ers came out fired up. Like I said, Captain Sharkey scored the first goal, and the team seemed to be in control pretty much for the first game. Doug?
Are we talking about that game, or are we talking about the day in general? Because I will tell you that I was very happy with the way things turned out today. I've got a lot of swag. Had a good meal, 2 good meals. Got some good photos up on the web. But you want me to talk about the hockey game?
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, it was great to meet a lot of these guys that we talked to on the show. Really enjoyed the Long Island 495ers, and I agree. The Ice Dogs just didn't have it today.
Yeah, I mean, they got a lot of great players. If we play this game tomorrow, we could have a completely different outcome. I think that's the kind of teams these guys are. But today it was the 495ers minor day. We'll get to the Brawlers 495ers elite matchup because that was a completely different story. But staying in with the minors, we had a great series. The second series, we had the Buffalo Fusion minor guys against the Richmond Robins. And this one was back and forth.
Yeah, that one was definitely back and forth. I missed most of that third game, but the Robins, very, very fast team. I remember the first game, they went down, I think it was 1-0, made some adjustments at the half, went up 4-1, won that first game. We didn't watch the next game.
Well, actually, I saw that second game, and it was the polar opposite. What had happened in that game was Richmond came out early. First minute scored, they were up 1-0, and then they were up 1-0 at the end of the first. And then the second half, it was Buffalo that scored 3 goals to win a 3-1 game in that one. So, and then of course the third game we did on the broadcast, and that one was the same way. It was all of a sudden 3-0 out of the gate for Richmond. And then it was 3-3 all of a sudden again. So, and then obviously we had that one big goal that really, they took the advantage on a power play goal. I think right before the end of the period, took a 4-3 lead and then carried a 6-3 lead into the second round.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching some of those games. Although the Robins returning from last year, I slightly got to see the Robins last year, but with 2 games going on at the same time, I didn't really get to pay too much attention, but they obviously have come up, gone a little bit further, and now they're one step further than they were last year.
Yeah, and they faced some adversity too. Their first game, they were missing a player due to suspension. The third game, the decisive game, they were missing arguably one of their better defensemen due to a game misconduct penalty in Game 2. But I was very impressed with the goaltending. I think it was they did a very good job, and Buffalo really fought to the end. They've got a great organization. That was a good one, but now we're set up for a great Eastern Conference semi with the Richmond Robins and the 495ers. I think we would all agree that the 495ers are the favorite here. And the great interview we had at the end of the game with Coach Dunning and Mark Udell. He asked very cutting questions about that, the series from last year, and that they have to play them again. And they gave them their due, but they think they're going to stay out of the box and try to play with them 4-on-4.
Yeah, no, I agree. We had some great interviews with coaches at the halftime and at the end of the games. I really enjoyed seeing us do interviews with a couple of the players, like at the 495ers at the beginning of the games, but at the end of those games. And maybe tomorrow we can spend a little more time interviewing some of the players and get their thoughts. But no, it's been fun.
Well, we were short a series on the West for the minors, and that was the Georgia Syndicate were unable to attend, which gave the Las Vegas Aces a walkthrough to the second round. But we did have another series, and this was another good one. This was the Corona Ducks, the defending minor league champions, against the San Jose Pirates.
Yeah, and that was a great matchup too. The Corona Ducks winning by a goal the first game, the Pirates coming back, going in overtime and winning it in overtime. Rich Nash scoring an overtime.
Yeah,
goal.
And we have that one on the website and on the Ratcast site, so we were able to get ourselves over there. The only overtime game of the day, and Ratcast was right on top of it.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you, I got the Facebook up, and I've got Kevin Elder from back in San Jose, California, asking how the Pirates are doing. So I think we had a good following today. There were a lot of people on Facebook. I was proud of the Pirates. I think they played good. When I told them they had a tough draw, they said no. Corona had a tough draw. So we went over there and rooted our boys on, and hopefully they'll do better tomorrow.
Right. Yeah. Well, obviously, Game 3 was a little bit of a crushing blow. It was a 9-0 game. It was the one real big rout of the day. And Corona has a short roster, but they are the champions. They showed it in the Game 3. They're moving on, and we'll play Las Vegas tomorrow. First time we'll see Las Vegas since they got the walkthrough bye. But obviously, that's now the Western Conference matchup. And that really completes the minors. Any standout players for you guys in the minors before we move on? Standout moments or plays or things that you saw that you're really looking forward to seeing a little bit more of tomorrow?
Well, in the minor division, probably the player that stood out the most to me was, and I don't want to shout his name, but he was number 9 on the Richmond Robins. I believe it was Chip Johnson.
Yes, Chip Barnes.
Chip Barnes. Great player. Has been on fire through the playoffs and came into today, continuing in those ways. Kind of stood out as one of those top guys.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that first game, I was really impressed with Sean Rogowski. I think he had a hat trick in the first game.
He did.
And then I didn't notice him again for the rest of the day.
No, and interesting as I was looking at statistics. I was looking at statistics prior to that day, and he was literally on fire that game because I think he had an assist coming in, one assist in the series before, and they had some real high-scoring games in previous playoff games. But yeah,
well, that's going to say something about a team that's going to win because you look when we'll get to the Buffalo series, you take some more than just 2 guys or a guy to win a series, and especially at this level, you need to be deep, and and that's something that we're seeing out of Richmond now, and it's what you see out of the 495ers, it's what you're seeing out of the Ducks. So certainly we're looking forward to the conference finals tomorrow. We'll be recapping in a day because we'll be one day closer to the big championship, and that's what's happening in the minor league now. We can move on to the Elite League. We started the day off in the Western Conference, and we had, unfortunately, another walkthrough right to start out the day. The Oakland Good Life, as if they needed any more free W's with 23 of them in the regular season, they got a walkthrough to the second round as the defending champion Huntington Beach Ducks were a no-show, and we've all been very disappointed about that. And we found out about it Wednesday night, and there was a mad rush to try to get these guys out here, and it just didn't happen. The one thing from Huntington Beach that made its way here was the cup, so that will be transferring hands now that they've been eliminated. Oakland Good Life now in the Western Conference Final, and the other semi was the Mississippi Rolling Surge. We finally got to see some Bubba Gump Division hockey. So, and I tell you, I thought we were all pretty impressed. We didn't know what to expect, and I think somewhere in the back of some of our minds, we were afraid of what we were going to see. But they showed up. They looked good. They acted good. They were gentlemen, and they played good hockey.
Coach, very professional. The uniforms, actually, I will say, let's go on the record, officially my favorite AIHL jersey, the white. I told Wendell I want a Mississippi Rolling Stars jersey. I love them. They're like the San Diego Chargers.
Yeah, they were awesome.
Dougie Kors will see what he can do for you to get you a jersey.
Yeah, Dougie Kors is the king of bling. He finds his way to get all kinds of swag.
No lack in my
So,
swag,
I'll tell you. You know what I like too is they were complete gentlemen. And I used to have a theory in the AIHL is the further north you went, the nastier the hockey got. So and I guess the further south you go, the nicer the hockey gets. I was watching because I was over by the main entrance, which was where the Mississippi guy was during that second period, and they're battling in the game 2 to stay in this, and they were throwing everything but the kitchen sink at the Tucson goalie, and every time that he would make a save, the Mississippi goalie, I would hear him say, "Oh, that's a great save." I mean, he was just such a polite kid, and now they need a goal to stay in this thing, and this kid's, oh, great save. Oh, great save. It just says something. I was very impressed with the way they handled themselves. They played well, and when they lost, and Wendell said to me, he goes, now we know what we need to do here. Now we know what we're up against. And it's the same thing. I don't think they were too far away. We're talking about Richmond being right there now. Maybe they make the next step, or whatever the case may be. The Brawlers finally took a step. Now they're in the conference finals. We'll get to that in a minute. But, it's now they have an idea.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Mississippi beat themselves in those 2 games. That easily should have been a 3-game series. Their captain, 48, I'm trying to remember his exact name. Exdorf. Went to the box several times. But Tyson Oak, hell of a player. And there's some guys. There's a huge guy, Elliott. They got some players. They got some guys that can play the game.
Yeah, I saw at one point in the hallway, John Mosenson and that fella skate by, and Mosenson looked up at him as he walked by. So it was a big boy. I told him the volleyball court's in the back. So, no, obviously, let's not forget to give some due to the Tucson Slayers. Looked very, very good. Alex Stoit and the rest of the crew, their goaltender. And I think the most impressive player for them was their defenseman, Brian Gantz. He scored big goals after big goals, and everything seemed to go through him for that shot on the power play, and they were lethal on the power play.
Yeah, I know Brian Gantz, San Jose native who just graduated from Arizona State, playing there, and I'm not sure if he'll be back next year with this group of guys or what he's planning on doing, but Brian Gantz has been a hell of a player, and he's definitely
So are you saying that it's possible that he could be the biggest free agent in the Pac North next year?
Well,
we have no comment at this time.
Yeah, it's possible. Let's just say if he's moving home,
maybe as coach and general manager of the Northern California Mustangs. You don't want to say that?
Let's just say if he's moving home, Brian, I'll be calling you.
He said he liked those Mississippi jerseys, and those happen to be the same colors as another team in the Pac North. So.
That's right.
Listen, guys, I just got a text from our attorneys, Kenny Cheatham and Howe, and they said that we cannot speak on this until October.
Well, so Tucson's moving on to play the mighty Oakland Good Life. What do we expect in this series?
Well, I got to say that I definitely think Oakland can match the Slayers. The Slayers are a very talented, very fast team. They move the puck real well. They do look a lot for that down-low play. Oakland, very good. If they stay out of the penalty box, I think Oakland's going to definitely take that game. I think Kevin Silva, has got, I think in net, I think he's a stronger goalie. But I think it's going to go 3.
Okay, well, definitely staying out of the box is crucial when it comes to the Tucson Slayers because they had 3 or 4 different looks on the power play. They adjusted to how you were playing them on the power play. They didn't go into their diamond or go into a box and force that particular. They knew how to adjust based on how you were playing them. And I don't remember them having a power play where they didn't score.
Yeah, I got to say, I'm saying Oakland because, obviously, I've always felt this team had something special this year. and they're solid. And I do see them play a lot, and I do know a lot of the guys.
Well, I just want to see them wear
But-
white all day,
Yeah.
so Dave can be furious all afternoon because he can't read those numbers.
Right. Well, the thing is, Oakland likes wearing their dark, so I don't know. You've seen Oakland's uniforms, but I'm a big Miami Hurricane fan, so I favor their uniforms, the green and the orange.
Well, Oakland is the home team, so they'll be wearing white for 2 or 3 if it goes 3. So, so that obviously our Western Conference Final set up. That one's going to be good, starting at I think 2:30, but starting at 1:30, we're going to have the Eastern Conference Final. And how we got there, we had 2 unbelievable series. We had one that was a complete shocker because we didn't see it going that way, and it was dominant, and we've all turned around and said this team may be for real and may be the real deal. And then we had the other one that was just a circus, but in a good way. You got your money's worth. So we'll leave that one for last because that's the way it finished, and that was really the most exciting. But we had the 495ers, the defending Eastern Conference champions, have made their way to the conference championship 2 years in a row. They were shooting for their third, and they just didn't look like the 495er team that had the best record in the Eastern Conference, or the one that's been to the conference final 2 years in a row.
No, I got to say, Anthony, very disappointing day, and I'm sure those guys are extremely disappointed. I know that all season long they had that one goal, and that came to an end today. But just no offensive luster, and they took some critical penalties at some critical times when they really needed that next goal, and it just seemed to flatten it out. It just seemed like they just didn't have enough in them.
Well, I wonder if it's that they were bad, or if the Brawlers were just that good. I mean, I
think it's a little bit of both.
We talked, and they gave them nothing, and weren't happy with it at the end of the game. Coach Holiday said, "I thought we played sloppy," and we were like, every shot was from the outside. You weren't getting anything. They had 1 or 2 power plays, and they controlled the puck the whole time. And like we said, I mean, the Savage Wolves. They came down with like 5 or 6 guys last year. They put up a fight, almost won game 1 against the 495ers last year. But, I mean, they were dominant from start to finish. They played 60 minutes of unbelievable hockey today. Goaltending was strong. Defense was amazing. They're taking advantage of their opportunities, and goal scoring was fantastic. Their transition of the puck was great. Their power play was great. Their penalty kill was great.
Yeah,
that equals success.
Yeah, there's no question to me that this team at this point, now that Buffalo's out, there's no question in my mind that they're the favorite to come out of the East. Defensively, unbelievable. And like I said, I think the Inferno's good. I think they're fast. But this Brawlers team defensively, and then they got 2 good goalies back there, and their transition hockey is incredible. The way they get the puck up the floor, they get themselves some space. Their transition, like I said, odd man rushes. They got a lot of nice tic-tac-toe plays.
And not only do their defense move the puck straight up real fast, but then they have the speed to get into the play. I mean, Keating, the 2 Keane brothers, Grossi are unbelievably fast.
I saw a bunch of times the guy that actually was breaking the puck out of the zone that ended up being the 3rd guy in the play scoring a goal. Right. It was like
yeah, and I mean, and who played better today passing the puck than JJ Fichter?
Unbelievable.
I almost got sticked in the head by him when I was trying to set up an interview in the penalty box. It came right by. It was really close. It was so close that my hair kind of moved.
And in your hair?
I'm sorry?
Okay, just wanted to go on with that one. So,
briefly about the Long Island 495ers class act. The guys were great. We talked to a lot of them. Didn't meet them up in person until today. They took care of us. Class act. A lot of hugs. Mario got some kisses. It was all good.
And it looks like you got some swag.
I sure did.
Yeah, you got the swag.
Yeah, he got the hat, though. The hat's nice. Very nice.
Well, the road ends for them. The road goes on for the Brawlers, and their opponent was the winner of the Fusion Inferno series. And with that series, that was the talk of the day at the end of the day. I mean, it happened at the end of the day, but the Inferno had something and brought something to the table that nobody else had. And we saw that tonight.
I think Doug ticked them off too. They were not happy when they met Doug, and the fact that Doug said they were going to lose by 3 goals. They were not happy about that.
In a 2-game series. Yeah, they called me out on it. C.J. King called me out on it. I stood by it, and I was shocked, and I was impressed. I'll tell you. One player, the goalie, unbelievable. Pat Bell.
Yeah, Pat Bell. Well, game one they started Rethage, and it looked like exactly how it was shaped up to be. Walzer, Schlegel dominated game one. Dominated the pace of the game. They played at their pace, which was slow the puck down, move the puck back, stretch the rink, make the good passes. Give Walzer a little bit of space, not that he even needs it, and they capitalized on their opportunities. Well, I don't know what happened in between that and the next game. I mean, they only showed up with 8 guys and 2 goalies. Normally through the course of the year they had 12. And the Inferno, maybe being their hometown, they had a little bit of a deeper bench, but they came into that game too hungry. Hungry.
Yeah, Inferno made the adjustments, and it just seemed like the Inferno was just constantly, poke checking and always getting their sticks in there. And it just seemed like Buffalo was holding on 1 second too long, and the pucks were getting chipped up the boards or chipped up to an open guy, and the Inferno was so fast, and things just weren't working. I mean, for a minute there. After the second game, they lost pretty badly. We went into the third game. In the first period, they hadn't scored. So they had gone 3 periods with Ty Walzer and Denny Schlegel, our 2 leaders in the league, being shut down.
Sure.
Which was unbelievable. So you really got to question. Now, I don't question because I've seen these guys play, and they're definitely good, and I've seen them play in Long Island. But had we not seen them play on Long Island, and had they not played so good in the first game, we'd have to probably question.
Well, what I saw. What I saw too was I saw Walzer stop looking for Schlegel. Walzer started to grip. You saw he started to just try to lean on his stick and snap him and make that extra move and try to score himself. I think not that meant that he had no faith in Schlegel. I just think it was just out of frustration and out of somebody's got to spark the team, and they almost had that spark in Game 3, and Game 3 is really what I want to talk about because they had a 5th man. They had hometown crowds all day, but for that last game, it was something like we've never seen in this league. I mean, there was a good 100 people there to root them on, and they had. We have to come up with a name before tomorrow for their cheering section.
Yeah.
Well, we will.
Belly Busters.
The Belly Busters. They showed up. They were in full force, and they were very polite. They were very polite. They were not rude. They were just rooting on their team, and it was an advantage. It was truly an advantage, and their team fed off of it. And like you said, they won every battle. There was somebody always stick checking. There was somebody always back checking, and I think the energy, the gasoline for that, was that 5th man. That group they had in just cheering them on. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but
no, you're right. And for a long time, I saw Buffalo playing with a short bench. Comstock wasn't getting a lot of minutes. McGavis wasn't getting a lot of minutes. And before you knew it, it got to a point where late in that game they were behind, I think, by 2. It was 2 minutes and 15 seconds left in the game. Schlegel and Walzer are sitting on the bench, and we're thinking, at this point, they've already used their timeout. This is trouble. They got 2 big guns are now on the bench just because they're getting tired. And then finally, maybe a minute later, they get a whistle. They go back out, and they come so close to making it happen.
I remember, the Brawlers were there in full force, the whole team. They were down the end. They were scouting what was happening, and they left at halftime. It was 6-1, and they left. Only 2 of them left. I think the 2 Keene boys stayed and finished and watched it out, but the whole team left. And all of a sudden, I looked up, and it started. I mean, you and I were making some eye contact because all of a sudden it was 6-2, and it was like 6-2. But then as soon as it went to 6-3, we all started to look at each other, and then it was 6-4. And then it seemed to stay 6-4 for a while, and then with about a minute and a half to go, they got that 6-5 goal, and then what had happened was they threw everything except this trophy right down the middle. And I remember there was a wide open net, and the puck bounced and went under them. They sent it back to the point again. Somebody took an enormous clapper, and then out of nowhere, one of the Scottsdale defensemen came sliding through and I'm sure he's got a welt the size of
he took it
okay,
right
and it hit him, and then the play went the other way, and that was the
Nathan
series.
Gerger picked up
That
the
was
puck,
the
got
series.
the open net.
I think Gerger had 5 goals in that game too. So unbelievable series.
Those same belly buster people was throwing hats on the rink.
The other thing is we talked with the Fusion coach after the game, and the first thing he said was the crowd.
Yeah.
He says, I couldn't even yell loud enough to where the boys heard me out there on the rink, and that was huge.
Unbelievable. So obviously, congratulations to the Inferno. You know, they stunned everybody. You know, they got their revenge from the great game that we had during the festival, and it sets up Inferno Brawlers. We haven't seen that matchup in forever, so that should be an interesting. We didn't get to see that this year. So, what do we look at going in there? We know we discussed that we think the Brawlers are probably the favorite in that one, even though the Inferno will be the home team. They were the 3 seed. They had the same record as the Brawlers during the regular season, but it came down to some sort of 5th tiebreaker or something. So.
I think that could go. I do like the Brawlers, but I think that could go 3 games. When I really look at what the Inferno did against Buffalo, I just can't. You know, although like I said, I think I talked about Keating and I talked about this Brawlers team being very good. The Inferno team defensively, you know, I mean, they were doing a lot of good things.
Yeah, they had 4 defensemen on the rink at all times.
Yeah,
I mean,
they played good.
You skated the puck down, and the forward was on you before you got to the defenseman. The forward was on you from behind, and like I said, that was being fueled by the adrenaline of what was going on in the building. Yeah. Now, here's what's different: is the Brawlers were there tonight. They're going to be able to sleep on that. They're going to be able to game plan. Their coach is going to be able to settle them down, because I think, admittedly, just from the coach, they were kind of a little overwhelmed by what had happened. So, you know, it is the way it is. You know, so nothing you could do. But I think it should be a good series. I would pick the Brawlers, but I think I picked 2 winners all day. So what am I talking about? The only one that I picked was Richmond. That game's true. So
yeah, me too.
I think I did pretty bad too.
So
well, there's a lot of surprises. I mean, a lot of surprises.
Well, that's exciting. I'm glad. I'm excited about that.
That's why you play the game.
I mean, it's awesome. And not that we thought anybody was like some overwhelming favorite, because that was what was so exciting about this weekend. But it's you know, it's all about this baby right here, and you know, the team that wants it the most is going to be hoisting it at the awards banquet on Sunday night.
Be there or be square.
And I heard you're driving the bus.
I am driving the bus. Nobody drives the bus like us.
We got to find out is it automatic or if it's.
Is it a 6-speed or I'm sure it's automatic.
All right, so that's day 1 in the AIHL finals. This is the commish, Coach Mario, and the guy that we finally brought out.
The lovely and talented.
We'll give you a report card and let you know if we bring you back.
10-4.
All right. Well, from the wherever we are, this is our secret bunker.
Pittsburgh, PA.
Our secret bunker in Pittsburgh. This is us signing off from day 1 at the AHL Finals.